Why are you wearing my dead brother's clothes, bro? Hey, buddy, knock it off. You gotta get out of here. I don't know what your plans are for the rest of the night, but it's not here. Leave these people alone. Fuck you, man. You're the piece of shit who's wearing my dead brother's clothes. I'll fucking kill you. Hey, next time something like this happens, don't lead him here. Lead him to the bar down the street. He turned around and ran up right to my house. He stared into my front window. I had my shade down, so I'm sure he didn't see anything. But he was staring, blank look in his eyes. He did the swaying back and forth for about 5 minutes before he ran off out of my camera's view. A few days later, reports of the murder started. All right, folks, let's get into it. No frills, no intro. The Flea Market Murders, Part 2. So after all that crazy nonsense, people started getting bludgeoned to death. I stopped going out after dark for a while. I checked my doorbell camera every night to see if the guy came back on my block. I was getting a bit paranoid, but is it really paranoid if you know they're after you? Other than the fact I knew this guy was crazy, the cops just let him go to do whatever. I couldn't wrap my head around why he was attacking random people, since I was the one who apparently broke into his dead brother's house and stole his clothes, which seemed to be the crux of his beef with me. So for a while, I guess, I just got in the routine of going to work, going home before the sun goes down, and staying put for a bit. First few murders happened right after one another. Boom, boom. It had been only about 4 days after the initial, that incident that I had discussed with you. The next day, there was the third. Petered off a bit after that, but a few days later, after that fourth one, I decided I wanted to try again to do something about it. On a Tuesday, I got done my main job a little early. My latest appointment had emailed me and canceled for the day, so I put off finishing paperwork and hopped on the trolley home. Got off about 5 steps earlier than my usual so I could go to the local office for the police department in my part of the city. I walked in and there was a front desk covered by bulletproof glass with a young woman that reminded me of Janine from Ghostbusters. There was a tiny waiting room with 4 plastic chairs, no one else in the room, and one door that led back into the rest of the building. She looked uninterested and took a minute or so before even looking up from her paperwork to acknowledge me. Hey, how can we help you? I don't know how to say this. You know the murders that have been going on in the neighborhood? All the people that are having their heads bashed in? Well, I think I know the guy who's doing it. I have a video from my doorbell camera of the guy, and I just want to give anything that might help the investigation. Okay, take a seat, wait a minute, I'll get someone to talk to you. I did as she said, took a seat, started rifling through my phone anxiously as I watched and rewatched the doorbell cam video of the man staring into my neighbor's house across the street before running up to mine and trying to stare in my window for a good long while. I waited. And I waited. It's probably about 20 minutes or so, but it felt like forever. My mind was racing and I just kept trying to distract myself with Reddit posts and stupid YouTube videos. Finally, the one door opened and 2 big guys came out. One wearing the City of Phear police uniform and one wearing a suit. Both big guys. The man in the suit looked a bit older than me, probably a man in his early 50s with graying hair, bit of a beer belly and a mustache. The uniformed officer looked like a stereotype, clean-shaven with hair trimmed so short he might as well have been bald. The guy in the suit approached me and held out a hand while the guy in the police uniform stood behind him. Hi, I'm Detective Fuller. I was told you have some information about the recent murders. Please, come back to my office and we'll talk about it. I got up and followed them through the door, down a small narrow hallway with a few closed doors on the sides. Detective Fuller led the way while the other officer who hadn't introduced himself followed close behind, and me behind them. The building wasn't very big, so after just passing a few doors, Detective Fuller opened a door on his left and held it for both of us to go in. It looked like an interrogation room. There was just one rectangular table in the middle, A chair on one side on the far wall he motioned for me to take a seat at, and there were two others on the side closest to the door. I sat down and the detective did shortly after me. The officer paced around a bit before shutting the door to the office and taking a seat himself. "I'm sorry, this here is Officer Howard." He nodded but didn't speak. "So you said you have information on the person who's been committing the murders around here. What can you tell us?" I ran through everything I experienced going to the bar, being followed by the man, everything that happened after. Then I said I had a video of him walking around my block and looking into my neighbors and my house. Got a little heated when describing the situation and probably let fly how unprofessional I thought the police were during the interaction. Officer Howard looked a little uncomfortable. He whispered something in the ear of Detective Fuller. "Why do you think this man you're talking about has anything to do with the murders?" "Well, I guess I don't know exactly. He was carrying a blowtorch when he followed me. He's threatening to kill me. Seemed pretty psychotic. Everything I hear on the news says the victims had their heads bashed in. Figured it could be the same guy using the tank from the blowtorch. I know he planned to use it as a weapon, but I never saw him actually light it." "How do you know he planned to use it as a weapon?" "Oh, well, I guess I don't know for sure actually. Just feeling I got while he's following me and threatening me." Finally, Officer Howard spoke. "Yeah, I was there that night and I took a report. We did our job exactly according to protocol. I don't appreciate you implying anything otherwise. As far as I saw, you antagonized the man." Hey, wait a minute. What do you mean as far as you saw? You all didn't even show up until long after he could have killed someone. You're lucky he didn't, and there were enough of us around to keep him at bay." The detective held out a hand to me and grabbed onto the officer's shoulder. "All right, settle down. Is that all you have to tell us?" "Well, the reports from that night, whatever they read, I'd be willing to bet a month's salary that's your guy. I got him on video too." "All right then." He handed me a business card with contact information. "Send the video to the email address on there and we'll look into it. Is there anything else you need to tell us?" My mind raced. It felt a little scrambled. No, I think that's about it, I guess. Other than when the whole thing went down, I told the officers on the scene that the guy needed to be involuntarily hospitalized. At least taken for, the evaluation. I'm a therapist. I know all about the laws and protocols and what gives, reasonable cause to be able to do something like that. I explained it to the officer. Officer Howard stood up and cut me off. "Why would we listen to you? As far as we knew, you were the one that instigated the whole thing. You're lucky we didn't arrest you." Detective Fuller made a calm down motion with his hands. "All right. I think we got what we needed. Send that video and we'll take a look into it. Leave your contact information at the front in case we need to get a hold of you." He stood up, opened the door, and motioned for me to exit. I did. He followed me out while Officer Howard stayed behind. He walked me out to the front, instructed the receptionist to take down my information, which I gave, thanked me for the information, and I left out the front door. I lit up a smoke as I got outside, took a few breaths, and tried to collect myself while I went through my phone and sent the door cam video to the email address the detective had given me. I didn't have a good feeling it would lead to anything, but what else was I to do? The sun was starting to go down, so I took the 15 to 20 minute walk back home, settled in, and went through my normal nighttime routine. Stayed mostly put in the house for a bit. Didn't go out to my local pubs. Didn't go meet up with friends at night. Just woke up, worked my job, went home, passed the time with video games or binging some TV shows. Didn't hear anything from the police. 6 days passed until the next news report of another murder. Same as all the other ones. Youngish guy from the neighborhood had been out at night, found with his head bashed in. I noticed something strange about this last one. See, every time someone got murdered and they showed a quick picture of the person on the news, it was usually followed up with a sad interview from the family about how distraught they were over the situation, understandably so, what a good person the victim was, how they didn't deserve anything like that, along with their hopes that the police would find the killer and bring him to justice as soon as possible. This time, when they showed the picture of the young man most recently murdered, he was wearing a t-shirt with a cat overlooking a burning city, an obscure art print that isn't very common at all to see, but it's one that I own myself. Murder reports on the news ceased for a bit after that, for a couple weeks. Maybe it's like one of those kind of things when you're sick or you have medical issue that you've been sitting on for a bit and you finally actually have the doctor's appointment. The day of, everything's fine. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of what it was like after going to the police. I started going out at night again, but I was still pretty paranoid for a while. Still kind of in a little bit of shock after being followed by a psycho methed out freak with a blowtorch. I started seeing him everywhere, the corner of my eye. Doesn't help that he's got a pretty generic scumbag look for a lot of the guys in my neighborhood. I rewatched the doorbell cam video I had on my phone a bunch of times, took some screenshots where I could see the guy's face as clearly as possible. I was watching the live feed from my doorbell camera at night more often than is healthy. Next weekend, something happened that gave me a little bit more insight into this whole ordeal. Happened completely by chance and was unexpected. A girl I'd been seeing on and off at the time told me she wanted to go to this monthly event they have in my neighborhood. Essentially like a flea market, vintage goods, what have you, open market that happens once a month on a weekend, each month in the summer. It all took place right around one of the local breweries I frequent, so I figured, why not? If it's too boring and there's nothing for me, I can at least stop in the brewery for a couple of beers. Most of it was exactly what I'd expect. People with tables featuring a lot of knickknacks and old tchotchkes, a bunch of people selling their art, whether it be painting or prints, jewelry, and a bunch of clothes. I split ways with the girl I was with as we had some different interests and different things we were looking for. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I did come across one guy that was right up my alley. He was selling seasoning, hot pepper shakes, and whatnot. He was giving out free samples with popcorn. Now, I'm a chili head and a half. I've grown a lot of super hots, made hot sauce, and everything you can think of out of them. I actually have a Carolina Reaper tattoo as part of my sleeve. Figured I'd earned it after eating a whole one I grew. It was one of the most painful and terrible experiences of my life, but pretty awesome. Good story to tell. Anyway, he had some good ghost pepper seasoning, and it definitely hit the spot and got me even a little bit. Lost track of my girl, and I figured I'd pop into the brewery for a drink. The beer had made the burn in my mouth from the hot pepper seasoning sample burn even more. At least I knew it was really good stuff. But I finished my beer pretty quickly when I realized my phone was dead. No. She's going to be pretty upset if I don't find her. I don't know if she's been texting me or not. I need to pay better attention to the charge on my phone or get one that isn't 7 years old so it actually holds a charge better. Probably both. I was walking up and down some of the streets close to the brewery, standing on my tippy toes looking around for her. I almost ran into a guy fixing some clothes on hangers underneath his tent. "Whoa," he said. He was a short, fat guy around my age, shaggy light brown hair and an unkempt beard. "Hey, I'm sorry. I'm just in my own head looking for someone." "Well, why don't you take a look around?" He looked me up and down and said, "I got a lot of shirts and stuff that look like your style." I took a quick look at the racks and, wow, he's right. Had a ton of art print shirts. Some I actually owned and a lot I didn't, but recognized from the website I buy a lot of my stuff from. Of course, mixed in with a good mix of City of Fear sports teams, t-shirts, recent and vintage, and some other stuff I didn't recognize. Where do you come across most of this? I usually don't see this in thrift stores or in any places like this. He leans in close to me. "I'll tell you a little secret because you seem like a cool guy and it might want your type of guy to buy this even more." Not sure what he meant by that, but okay, I'm listening, I guess. "My friend is a crime scene cleanup specialist. He gets me a ton of this shit. When people are murdered, when people commit suicide, when people just die or OD or whatever." He had an expectant smile on his face, like he thought I'd be impressed or that I'd think that was really cool. "Wait, what? What is that? What you said about your friend? Crime scene cleanup specialist? Oh, yeah. Well, whenever there's a bloody crime scene or a messy suicide or something, usually the family or whoever finds the person, they call the cops. They do their thing, then they call in the cleanup crew. He's one of them. He can pretty much take whatever he wants for the most part. I don't really watch them or monitor them or anything like that. It's assumed there's going to be a bunch of stuff that's too bloody or contaminated that will just need to be thrown out anyway, so nobody really questions anything. He cleans those places out. He pawns the really valuable stuff and gives whatever he thinks I can sell at something like this to me at a really nice price. Most of what you see here comes from him. I'm not about to go rifling through some thrift stores to get good finds. And you know what? Business has been pretty good too. I sat there taking all the information in for a bit. It didn't take me long to put two and two together. I'd be willing to bet a paycheck that this guy somehow came across our murderer's dead brother's clothes, sold them to a lot of folk around here. Just happened to be my shit luck that his dead brother had the same taste in clothes as me. Rifled through my phone a bit, pull up the couple of screenshots of the torch-wielding psycho I had taken from my doorbell cam video and show it to the man. Hey, you recognize this guy by any chance? No, why? Friend of yours or something? No, I was just curious. Just a guy I had a run-in with not too long ago and trying to find out if anyone knows him. Been paying attention to all the crazy murders going on around here? Not really. Too busy trying to make money off of this, along with a couple of my other get-rich-quick schemes. He chuckled a bit. Oh, wait. I did see on the news that one of the victims was wearing one of the shirts I sold. I think I sold it to them. I don't really remember. Wish I had my logo on there or something. That would have been great for business, he said, laughing a bit. I didn't laugh back. I felt a bit disgusted, though in all fairness, he didn't know all the details of what was going on. Thought hard for a second. I'm a damn therapist, not a cop, not a detective or some Dick Tracy private investigator wannabe. Why am I even getting involved in this? Honestly, I don't really have a good answer for you. Like I've said multiple times, I make a lot of stupid decisions. Next was buying a whole bunch of the shirts that were, quote-unquote, my style. I was pretty sure it came from the Torch Psycho's dead brother's cash. Well, that's the second part. Third part and finale will be coming soon. Please excuse the shorter episodes with a little less production value than usual. Summer's been pretty busy and sometimes it can be hard to find the time to do all the recording and editing and everything that goes into these. Stretching the story out a bit has given me some time to do more writing, prepare for future episodes. Hope you're enjoying the summer and get the most out of it, as it's coming to an end, but if you're anything like me, you're wishing it away and hoping the falling leaves and spooky season come as quickly as possible. Till then, we have to keep on keeping on. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you back in the city sometime real soon.